So when I say guitar amp, the first thing that probably pops into your mind is something that looks like this. And you are indeed right, this is a guitar amp. However, it's not the only kind of guitar amp, so we have to be a bit more precise about the name, and this is what we call a combo. Because it's a combination of a preamp, a power amp, and a speaker in one neat little box. This is the most common one, the cheapest option usually, and this is the one that you will find in every bedroom of every guitarist ever. This is probably the first one you will buy or have already bought. But there are other kind of guitar amp, and another very common option is what we call the stack. It's basically one box that we call the guitar amplifier head and another one that we call the cab. The guitar amplifier head is a combination of just the preamp and the power amp. There's no speaker in it, so on its own it doesn't make any sound unless you drop it, but that's not recommended at all. So you have to plug the output of the guitar amplifier head into a cab, which does have speaker. One reason to do that is that you have a lot more flexibility about what kind of speaker you want, about how you're going to record the thing. You have usually a lot more power too. So this is something that you will see on live stage or recording studio, and it's a lot more expensive than a combo usually. A third kind of guitar amp is not really in use nowadays. It was really big in the 80s, and it's basically having three separate boxes. So one for the preamp, one for the power amp, and one for the speakers. And this gave a lot of flexibility into different parts, but for some reason we stopped using that kind of form factor. Just know, if you are young, that it existed at one point, and you might find those in some oldies guitarist rooms. Of course, we can't talk about all those kind of guitar amps without talking about the new technologies that are multi-effect pedal boards and computers. But this gets a bit trickier because basically a multi-effect pedal board or a computer acts as a preamp. So you need to have a power amp and a speaker afterwards so that you can get sound. But in those preamps, you usually have simulation of power amps and speakers in it. So it's a bit of an inception kind of stuff. Like I said, it's a bit tricky and there's a lot of variables, so we're gonna spend some time on those in another lesson. And finally, I have to add a word about headphones, because sometimes you want to use the headphones with your amp. And usually what it does is that it bypasses the power amp and the speakers, and it acts as a power amp and speakers right after the preamp. So that's it. This is what you have to know about the different form factors of guitar amps. I hope you learn a bit more about the vocabulary. And now we're going to head into the third part of this video to talk about the different technologies used to make sound. We still have one crucial question left. It's what kind of technology are we going to use to actually make the sounds? And it's an important question because the different technologies we can use have different drawbacks and advantages. So we're going to take a brief look at it in this video.